Welcome back from the break. You're still watching Our Parliament. This is the show that gives you a chance to contribute to what Parliament is discussing. Today, we are discussing a report of the Ad Hoc Committee on Energy on the performance of the electricity subsector. Before we went for the break, people in my audience today said, UMEME are thieves. They're shrewd business people. We have UMEME here today. Are you thieves?
Absolutely not. We are the messenger in the whole electricity sector. We come to connect you. We come to bill you. We come to collect from you. Of your bill, your tariff is about 500 and something. UMEME gets 17%. If we retain 17% and you accuse us of stealing, you realize that it's an unfair definition of our role in the whole sector. So, but however, that said, I would just like to appeal to all of you that if anybody from UMEME offers you service at a paid for him to be paid, I want you to resist it, the request, because I know you might be desperate to get your power on. Refuse it, and most importantly, report it.
Refuse it and stay in darkness for one more week?
If you report it to our whistleblower line that is manned by Transparency International, not by UMEME, report that, we shall act on it.
There's so many people who have issues with your staff actually asking them for money in order to get reconnected.
Absolutely. 0312 360. That's 360 777.
Okay, thank you very much, Henry. Let's come over to the MP. Honorable Betty, you say there are so many issues you want to clarify.
Yes, first of all, I want to clarify on your issue where you're comparing a dollar. I want to tell you that dollar has not only increased in Uganda, it's also increased in other countries. But I want to compare with you what you pay and what other countries in the region pay. You pay 524.5 per meter.
Per unit.
Per unit. Your neighbor, where you export power, Kenya, pays 244 per unit. Your neighbor, Tanzania,
244
per unit. Shillings in Uganda shillings.
Okay, Ugandan shillings.
Tanzania, your neighbor, pays 205 per unit. Those are your neighbors.
And yet Tanzania is coming to see the model in Uganda.
The model in Uganda. So, really, now, the most important thing is, what is the tenant of private investor? A private investor is supposed to come with his or her money and put it in the economy. But since UMEME came, they claim to have invested $130 million. I told you, government has verified by 2011, $28 million. They have posted in their book 64. But what has government put in UMEME? UMEME, for every loss according to the agreement in 2006, which they connived with technocrats, the minister had said the maximum loss UMEME should put in their books as a cap should be 33. Daudi Migereko. Immediately, Daudi Migereko flew out of the country. These technocrats sat very quickly with Bataringaya, who was then the state minister, and they hiked from 28 of losses to 38. And in the agreement, for every 1% of loss, UMEME is paid by government of Uganda $4 million. $4 million per 1%. So between 2005...
This is per year, right?
No. Between 2000 and... No, not per year.
No,
1%.
The 4 million that's paid per unit loss is at the end of the year, isn't it?
So per annum.
So it's not like daily or...
Yes, per annum, like they said, don't speak for UMEME.
Yes,
per
I'm not speaking for UMEME.
But can I speak for UMEME?
Yes, you're going to speak for UMEME.
Let me finish. Okay. Per annum, government pays $40 million to UMEME for losses, commercial losses, which is supposed to be operational costs. What the gentleman was saying, going to your house, reconnecting, disconnecting, and this, paying their staff, even in the government book, even residential building of the managing director, it is government that pays. Second, how much and what has government put on UMEME, which is supposed to come with their own money? to invest in Uganda. When they took over in 2005, they found UEB had already purchased substations which distribute power and poles worth $11 million. That is what they found. As of now, our investigation showed that they have not even showed government of the $11 million which one is the property of government. They have not shown government.
Okay,
$11 million.
Those are the issues that you have raised.
No. I want to finish on the investment and what government has put on
just one more thing on the investment. Because
in
should
2000, yes, he will respond.
Said, yes.
He is a bright man, he will respond. Now, loan. Government again got a loan for putting substations for Jinja, for Tororo, for Kampala, worth 36 billion and gave to UMEME. But if UMEME talks to the public, they don't say what has government put for that substations which they are claiming they have put. UMEME should tell us how much they have invested in Uganda.
How much? Henry, as UMEME, let's start from the point of how much you've invested, because that's something that the MP and the report says could not be verified. The figures that you gave and the figures they gave are not the same. So how much has UMEME actually invested?
And I'd like to respond to it like this. As part of the concession agreement with the government of Uganda, in terms of the procedure, every year UMEME makes an application for investment to the regulator, known as ERA. ERA then says, we agree that you make the following investments for the following value. The following year, or on completion of the works, a team from ERA and the Ministry of Energy go around to those investments to verify and sign off or reject. And if you go to their website right now, you will find a report where they're showing what they have rejected from 2012 and what they have approved. So every single investment UMEME makes is verified by the regulator. It's not something that we make up in our offices. The Honourable Minister replied, made statement that the MD's house is on it.
No, this is the MP, the Honourable MP.
The Honourable MP.
Sorry,
I do apologize. What she's referring to is not investment. Every year we agree distribution, operation, and maintenance costs, known as DOMC. And UMEME is given a target that all your costs, your employment, your vehicles, whatever, must be within this figure. So that is nothing to do with investment, all right? So to go away with the impression that you are paying for the MD's house is wrong. Secondly, on the last thing about the government substations, every single thing that we have here is owned by the government and the people of Uganda. UMEME does not own anything. It will make that investment, and that investment stays here. The substations you referred to are owned by UETCL, and we pay a lease figure. For instance, a few weeks ago on Mawanda Road, a substation caught fire. That substation is owned and managed by UETCL, not UMEME. But we pay for that. We pay the lease on that. So there is to make the statement that government is giving us this. And then finally, on the losses, the interpretation of the losses.
40 million in losses per year.
The government of Uganda has not paid UMEME 5 cents. All right? What it is that the value of each loss, correct, is $3 million. Okay?
Is it 3 million or 4 million?
It's $3 million to our record.
To your record. To the government record is $4 million.
That's the number. But it's not money that comes to UMEME. It's the value of the power that has been lost. Now, when you talk about the losses, that we're engineering the losses, we are dealing with a very archaic network, electricity network. I mentioned to the Honourable Member of Parliament before we came in here that right now we have been, UETCL started the rehabilitation of the Western Line. From September 1st to 31st of May, every Friday, Saturday and Sunday, Western Uganda is switched off between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. to rehabilitate that line. That line was built in 1963. That's the last time any money has gone into that line. And there are many lines across the country that are like that. So the losses are a result of the power going through these archaic lines that were not even prepared. That were not. For instance, a lot of issues have come up from the Bujagali power. The network cannot sustain the supply from Bujagali, and so the investment for the next few years is to prepare the network, and that's why this line of Western is being done, to prepare the network for the Karuma power.
Yes, but
if that power comes on,
yes,
the system will not sustain. It will not be able to sustain.
Okay, Henry. But that said, if you are paid for every
we're not
loss,
paid for any loss.
Okay.
We're not paid for any loss.
You're paid
We're
rebates.
not paid for any loss, Honorable, and you know that. We're not paid for any loss. We are paid, we are challenged that we must improve the network because the losses are made up of two factors. Technical losses, which are 16%, and that is reconductoring the wires. Then 8% is commercial losses. This is dealing with power theft. We're right now running a power theft campaign, and very many people, some people watching here, know people who can connect them illegally. That's 8%. Now, each 8% loss means $24 million. Since we came into 2005, by bringing down the losses to this level, the government has saved, not paid us money. It has saved money, not paid us money.
All right, thank you very much, Henry.